Hi, for this exercise, we will show you how we made a body mass index program by implementing a function. So first, let's start off with the hashtag includes. And what these do, they access files in the program. For example, the IO stream accesses functions for inputs and outputs. Are using namespace std, what that does, it locates standard names in the program. So then we move on to our function. And here we have the return type, which is the double. We could use a double or a float. It doesn't matter since we're going to be using decimals. But we decided to use a double. And then here we have our function name, which is BMI cal, BMI for body mass index. And we set the two parameters, which we named W and H. And we also placed them in double. Again, you could use floats as well. And then we move on and to our statement, which is this whole thing right here. We establish a new variable, BMI, and we set it equal to this equation here. And we're using 703 because our program is going to run in inches. Um, and then all these here in the statement, these will be based on your answer or your input later on in the program. The program will ask you what to input, and then it'll show you the answer, which is what return BMI does. This is what returns your body mass index and shows it. It shows you as the answer. Okay, now we move on to the main function. Here we establish new variables, weight and height, and again we use the return type double. Same thing, you could use float if you'd like, but we decided to use double. Here we have redo, another variable, but instead we're using character. And what this means, it's a character that we're gonna use on the keyboard. It could be a letter. Well, it is a letter. And then we move on to our statement, and what we did was we used a do while statement, and what it does is it does it runs this first, and what's going on here is first it's gonna output what is your current weight, and it's gonna ask for it in pounds. So here we come to our first variable, which we establish here, and the user inputs their weight again in pounds. And don't forget, you could use decimals since we established the double. And then it's gonna ask for your input again. What is your current height? And don't forget to put it in inches. And after it asks you the question, just input your height. And then here we have an output as end line. What this does is basically the same thing as if you were on Microsoft Word. It's the same thing as pressing enter. So it's gonna skip a line. Here on this output, it's gonna give you a fixed number, but what we did was we set the precision to 2, and what this does, it'll only show you the two numbers after the decimal. So say your weight was 200.603, it'll only show you 200.60. And then we move on to this output, and what this will do, it's gonna say your BMI is, and it'll show you the answer, which is this. Now what's happening here is after you input your weight and height, it'll implement it in here, and after it does, we move back to our first function, and which is up here. What it did was you replaced this weight and height, and you plugged it into this right here,
The W.
into these two, the W and the H. And then after it does that, it'll do the calculation for you. It'll show you what answer.
So I'm gonna do it right here. So it's gonna be weight divided by.
And then it'll show you, well, this is the function here. It's your weight divided by the power of the height, and the power being 2, and multiplied to 703 inches. And then after it does that, we move back to this output, and it's going to ask you if you'd like to do it again. And then this is where we come back to our other variable of redo. Um, so after all this is done, our do statement is done, we move on to while. This is where we have a loop, and what this does is it'll establish this character, and you have the option of putting yes or no. If you put yes, it'll read it as a while statement right here. What this means, it's going to read it as a true statement, and it'll start the whole process all over again, and you're going to do the whole thing again, which is why it's a loop. So see, we have redo equals yes, and don't we established a smaller case y and a lowercase y, just so the program doesn't run an error because you decided to put a capital Y. And then after we have all that, we just say return 0. It's gonna, all it does is
And
it
just runs the program.
it just runs the program. Okay, and now let's check out the program, see if it works. So we run the program. Um, I don't know. Let's make up a number. Let's go with 200.3 pounds. Next, we'll establish our height in inches. We'll go with, I don't know, 69 inches. And then it'll tell you, oh, you are overweight with an exclamation mark, like it's a good thing. And then it'll tell you your body mass index, and there it is. And then here is here's the option of yes or no. Let's say we put yes, then we could do the whole process again. 70, I don't know. And then this is where it all happened. Um, see if it'll tell you if you're underweight, if you're too thin for your height, you have a healthy weight, overweight, or obese. And that's how you do a body mass index, and that's how you implement a function. And that's it. Uh, thank you.